Good morning, everybody. It's 8 a.m. in New York, 6 a.m. in Denver, and 5 a.m. in Vancouver, Canada, where we have some people always joining us. I'm Julie Roginsky here with my co-hosts, Frederic Poag and Michelle Kinney. Welcome to the Mayday Morning Show. Guys, remember how the price of literally everything is going up? Like everything?
Yeah.
Remember how our soybean farmers haven't sold a penny of their crop to China because of Trump's tariffs? Well, that's okay. Never fear, because China found a new soybean supplier down south. And I'm not talking about Mike Johnson's home state of Louisiana, which has a lot of soybean farmers who are suffering right now. Think much further south, as in Argentina. That's how far south. But that's not the only boon for Argentina. Now, even as Americans are suffering, our taxpayer dollars are headed down to Argentina too, to the tune of $20 billion, a $20 billion bailout.
Well, it's 40 now.
40 now. Well, yes.
Yeah.
Got to improve.
Yeah.
I'll get to that. That. First, it was 20. Here's how one American soybean farmer feels about this before we get to the 40.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does nothing but.
Oops.
Well, I think you've got a bigger problem. I think somebody needs to ask Argentina what they did with the $18 billion that China gave them in 2009 that they haven't paid back yet. So now in 16 years, Argentina's got $38 billion of money to prop their economy up while it does nothing but knife me at home. They filled my orders in China. They will fill the bean meal orders. I mean, in what world is it good to loan people, the worst person in the world, to pay back money to prop up their economy, to protect hedge funds who are deeply immersed in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange? Every morning when I watch the market, they tell me if the funds are long or short, and that tells me what my it's not supply and demand, it's what the funds do. So how is this a good deal for me at all?
Yeah.
That guy's got to go on MSNBC and CNBC and talk finance, because he knows more about the Chicago Mercantile Exchange
than most people do, for sure.
Yeah, but wait, there's more, even though Michelle stepped on my story. Now,
I'm so sorry.
Treasury Secretary, okay. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is talking about doubling that bailout to $40 billion by working with the private sector and sovereign wealth funds to bail out Argentina. Sovereign wealth funds. Where have I heard that term before? Oh, that's right. People who invest in Jared Kushner funds and God knows how much money they're giving to crypto. Trump's funds. Sovereign wealth funds. Places like Qatar, places like that. Michelle, the price of my bacon has risen exponentially year over year. Same with my eggs, same with my apples, same with my electricity, same with my everything. Where's my bailout?
I think people have been asking, where's my bailout since 2008? Once again, Wall Street, the financial services industry in this country are leaving behind the average Americans. And now, yes, it's us, but more importantly for this story is our farmers. And, I was listening to that man talk about, the markets and how it all works. And I'm like, here's the thing about Wall Street and Wall Street people and the people in government. I think they all think we're stupid. I think they definitely think farmers are stupid. While farmers, listen, their entire livelihoods are tied up in what they do for a living, the land that they live on, the land that they farm on, and the product that they depend on selling, not just to us, but to countries around the world. And man, it's just, it burns me, Julie. I'm angry.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in New Jersey, so where there are farms, but not in where the part of New Jersey where I grew up. Michelle, you grew up in upstate New York, where there are
farm central.
Yep. And Frederic, you grew up in East Tennessee, where there are, I assume, a tremendous number of farms. I mean, you grew up around these people, Frederic, and they, by the way, a lot of them voted for Trump, and I don't take any satisfaction. This is not an FAFO conversation. I think they put their faith in Trump, who has a P.T. Barnum capacity to convince people that what they're seeing before their eyes is not reality. I mean, Frederic, your friends back home, like, what would they say about this? Do you think they're going to give him more of a benefit of the doubt? Do you think they're saying enough of this? Like, I can't deal with him anymore. What do you think is going to happen? Where is this going?
I mean, I think it's starting to break. The one misconception about like with farmers that we have in this country, and a lot of that has to do with the mythos of it, is the sort of the ma and pa kind of small farms,
Yeah.
the subsistent various crops, like the people go into the farmers market. That's who Trump's hurting. But that's not it. Like we're talking about small farmers that are actually business. That's why that guy in that clip, he understands the mercantile exchange because he's a businessman. His product just happens to be farming. And most farmers at that scale they're monocrop, right? It's single crop because you need different equipment, you need different things to harvest crops. It really is kind of a complicated business. And it's not just a simple thing of like, and this is where the people in charge of us are really stupid, because Trump said to this problem with the soybean farmers is, oh, well, if the farmers have short-term pain, they could just sell internally to the biggest market in the world. Well, here's the problem with that is Americans eat about 0.4% of the world's soybeans because that's tofu, whereas China eats about 20% of those.
Right.
So obviously the market for that is in China. And in order to sell to China, you have to go through like basically licensing bureaus. There's 3 of them in the US. And earlier this year, China basically I think it was around July, said, nope, they're all cut. And so what you're seeing is the fallout for that is China, like, because China got caught flat-footed in this first trade war. Trump caught them by surprise, and they were ready for it this time. And what happened was they said, okay, we're going to see a sequel of this. Cool. We're already in talks with Argentina. We're already in talks with Brazil. For those of you who remember, and this is another problem with this too. Remember when Bolsonaro, under his regime, they were burning down the rainforests and all that? Well, what that was to make more room for arable land for both cattle and row crops that they then sold overseas. It's not just Argentina. Brazil went from, I think, single digit, I want to say it was around 7% of the world's exportation. They're in the 30s now. Where did they get all that business from? They got it from us. So Trump has single-handedly, more than any other administration, killed the small American farmer. Like it's gone. And getting it back, that's going to be an even tougher ask, because the first time, just like with our alliances and everything else, they could have said, well, okay, you guys had a hiccup. You guys had a moment electing Trump. We'll come back. We'll do business with you. Yeah. Now, no, those trade, they're going to Argentina. They're going to Brazil. They're even going to also, like, not only that, China is buying more beef from Australia now. They're getting Australian beef instead of American beef. So it's not just soybeans, it's row crops, it's meat, and bacon. It will soon be going up if China decides to divest from pork products in America, because what a lot of people don't know, Smithfield pork, if you've ever bought Smithfield, is owned by China. That company is owned by China, and the reason they did that was to increase their pork supply after the first trade war. Trump is absolutely a disaster for the American farmer. And I think they're starting to catch on to this. I think that from what I heard from folks that like organize in this space, that are rural activists, a lot of farmers thought they really bought into this tariff thing, that it's going to strengthen the American economy, that Trump was somehow going to create these internal markets that they could pivot to. And they might experience some short-term pain for longer-term, substantial increased revenue that was in the US. But what happened was it's not even short-term pain, it's a disaster. And it's looking like it's going to be long-term, like, crippling effects. So
yeah, and it's, they're talking about giving the farmers a bailout again, as he did in the first term. But
they don't want to bail out.
They don't want to bail out, because here's the problem. They could be bailed out for their crops this year, but they've got to start planting for next year.
Yeah.
And unless we're going to permanently subsidize our farmers, which would be, I don't know, what's that word that starts with S? Socialism. Unless we do that, Speaking of Zoran Mandani and all the things that they've been saying about him here in New York,
Mhm.
like, there's something to be said for Trump espousing those kinds of views on a national level. And I don't even think Mandani wants to subsidize or bail out, except for a couple of supermarkets, bail out any New York businesses, but
Which are already subsidized by the government. But yeah,
right,
that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah.
So, these farmers are either going to be on the government dole forever, or they're going to have to shut down. And to your point, Frederic, I think when this happened the first time, China said, all right, you know what, aberration,
Right.
we'll go back to, I guess, sort of a status quo. But now, much like with our military and much like with our foreign policy,
Yes,
our economic policy shows the United States can be trusted. I mean, we looked into the abyss and we decided we wanted more. So if you're a foreign power, you're thinking, why would I get involved with these people? There are other places to go, and probably cheaper to some extent. They'll probably get some sort of deal from Argentina in ways that they're not going to get from us, especially with this president. So why not? And we're bailing out Argentina. Why? Because Trump has this love affair going on with the leadership down there, and said effectively, we'll give you the bailout, but only if you vote the way I want you to vote. If you don't, I'm not going to.
Well, it's even worse, right? I researched a similar thing during the Taft administration. It was called dollar diplomacy.
Yep.
Where the U.S. backed American business interests. So if you know, like Dole Pineapple, but the term banana republic is related to this. And so the reason Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, is leading the charge, because one of his buddies, Rob Centrone, happens to own a good chunk of that debt from Argentina. And that's why that bailout is just, 20, 40 billion, because it's not. So I want to make this very clear. This bailout is not going to small farmers or, poor farmers in Argentina that are doing the work, because most of it is agribusiness down there. It is going to American billionaires that own debt in Argentina. They are getting our tax dollars to finance a foreign country that they are then exploiting. That China is now taking $14 billion of what was our contracts and through our licensures, and they're going to Argentina. That's what Trump has done. I have no idea how this is America first. I really wish someone would explain this to me, because it seems like America last to me.
It's America last. It's America for sale. And, this article that I pulled up from Politico, the headline, Dissent says U.S. considers doubling aid to Argentina by tapping outside.
Look at his smirky face. I
can't with the guy. He's a cartoon character. So this would be going from 20 to $40 billion. And this paragraph here says the aid is aimed at bolstering Argentina's collapsing currency and calming economic unrest before October 26th midterm elections that will determine if the country's leader, an ally of President Donald Trump, who's got crazy hair and throws himself rock concerts, will maintain a political mandate to pursue a dramatic government cost-cutting agenda. So, there's that. And then there's also the reminder, and maybe we can talk about this more on another day, but J.D. Vance has invested in a company called Acre Trader. Acre Trader is a company that buys up farms after they have gone into foreclosure. So you have to look at the bigger picture here, the corruption, the rot from the inside, and everything that we know about even J.D. Vance. He's just one person, one piece of this entire puzzle. Is a soulless, spineless, void of morals, car dealership balloon flapping in the wind, no moral compass whatsoever. He cares about power, proximity to power, money, and he will say and do anything in order to get that.
And this is the guy who decided that he was the soul of Appalachia.
What?
Don't get me started on that.
The fight for the little man.
As someone who's lived in Appalachia for 2 decades of his life. And I don't even consider myself Appalachian, right? I'm steeped in the culture. I've been around those folks. I understand them. I'm not Appalachian. I can tell you right now, J.D. Vance, he ain't no Appalachian. It ain't no bones about it. And what makes this worse is you take a lot of these red states, especially the ones that are steeped in agriculture, and that's their big part of their economy. This is because they don't have income tax, because they don't have these, various forms of revenue. If you think of tax like that, Nebraska's talking about going to bankruptcy. So now it's not only just bailing out small farmers. Now you're talking about bailing out state governments too, right? So we're shipping $40 billion down to Argentina when we have red states that are getting ready to be going into bankruptcy, and then you add on the big, beautiful murder bill, right? That's going to cut health care. I mean, that's what this government shutdown is all about, which is going to affect the red states, harder. And I take this is personal to me, because you guys may have seen where Doctors Without Borders would go into poor Appalachia, and the folks would all come out of the hollers and down from the mountains and everything, and then they would get health care. That was literally in where I used to live. That was in East Tennessee and West Virginia, in Western North Carolina, and Southwest Virginia. Like, that's what I've organized amongst those folks. I've seen those folks. I've seen that level of poverty. These people, they don't care about those folks.
No, they don't care about them. And there's a reason why the Curtis Yarvin, Peter Thiel, dark Enlightenment tech bros are going to that part of the country to set up these little towns that are for white people only, and they're trying to buy up land, and so that they can set up these towns and small cities built around companies, and so that one tech individual or one rich individual can go in and own a town while these people are so impoverished and so on a level of struggling that they don't have the means or the resources or even the time to fight back against this. And how could they? And in addition to the tariffs and everything else, we're also dealing with immigration with the farms. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from the farmers, the dairy farmers and things from up where I'm from, is that they're losing their workforce because ICE is going in and raiding their farms and taking away all of the people who work for them. And not only is that skilled manual labor that, not everybody can do. I mean, that is skilled labor. It is also, they're paying these people a wage that average Americans will not work for.
And one more thing, don't forget USAID. Don't forget how when they cut USAID, which was immoral because it's a blip and a rounding error in our budget, but not only did they literally murder children and adults, but specifically children all over the world by doing that, but they screwed our own farmers by doing that, because USAID started as basically a farm program. Started as a way for us to have excess food that we made sent abroad. So you did well and you did good at the same time.
Yep.
And
one of the most effective soft power.
Everything else.
And so, look, if there are any farmers who are still voting Republican after this, because they believe that somehow Donald Trump is going to keep transgender people out of their bathrooms, and that's the reason that they're voting, because it certainly can't be economics, then I'm sorry, but then I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
But for the people who bought into this and who thought maybe this time would be different, I mean, fool me once, shame on you. But nevertheless, I guess fool me twice. I still feel bad for them. But the third time's a charm. I mean, you can't do that anymore.
I would just say this, what I always say in my videos. Y'all ain't in the club. You with us. You with the Democrats. We are all outside of this little fascistic elite, MAGA billionaires club with Elon Musk and all them. None of us are in it. You over here with us. You need to come over here with us. Take a seat. Take a seat next to us, and let's get this country back on track.
And we welcome you in, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say we told you so. We're not gonna do any of that. Come back. You guys need to vote.
I might live it.
You guys need to be with us. Come on back. Come on.
I won't say I told you so. What I'll just say, hurts, don't it? Don't do that again.
No, we don't.
My great grandfather, who went through the Depression and everything else. My dad told me, he used to say all the time, if you care about working people, you vote for Democrats. And the same rings true almost 100 years later.
That's what my dad used to say to me when I did something stupid and I'd hurt. He'd just look at me, he's from that area. He'd go, hurts, don't it? And I'd be tears streaming down my face, and he'd be like, you know not to do that again, won't you?
Okay, well, hopefully they won't. All right, let's move on.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready?
Frightening news breaking overnight from the Wall Street Journal that the Trump administration is planning to weaponize the IRS to go after left-leaning groups. And as none of this is surprising, literally none of it, based on just everything that they're doing to Tish James, to James Comey, to John Bolton. The list goes on, and I'm sure we'll all be next. The Trump administration is preparing sweeping changes at the Internal Revenue Service that would allow the agency to pursue criminal inquiries of left-leaning groups more easily. And a senior IRS official involved in the effort has drawn up a list of potential targets that includes major Democratic donors. And Frederic, I would love to know what you think about this. And I'm going to throw this up here because it said Raw Story reported on the Wall Street Journal. Reporting says every accusation is a confession. Observers bash Trump's sweeping changes at the IRS. And the Wall Street Journal headline here is Trump team plans IRS overhaul to enable pursuit of left-leaning groups. The effort would install a Trump ally at the agency's criminal unit who has drawn up a list of investigative targets. Frederic, just another day in paradise. What are your thoughts?
I mean, for fascists like Trump, this is pretty typical. I mean, and here's the rub with all this, right? Is there's a reason we don't classify political organizations as terrorists, which clearly some are. Like, so the KKK classifies itself as a political organization. They're not classified as terrorists. And the reason for that is because in the 1960s, the FBI with COINTELPRO, they went after the Black Panthers. They went after, anti-war groups that were protesting Vietnam War. And it goes even further than this, because also what Trump has said is that with Russell Voigt is that during the shutdown, they're going to target, quote, Democrat-oriented employees at the federal government to cut them first, right? So forget like Title IX, forget all the protections that you have, which as a government employee, you are in a union and you are entitled to, worker protections against your political affiliation, because you're not supposed to, we've long since thrown out the Hatch Act and all these other things where you're not supposed to play politics as part of the government, where Trump just has the White House as a backdrop for a political campaign, which is supposed to be a legal no-no. But this is just part and parcel of it. They are attacking because anything can be considered a leftist. Planned Parenthood could be considered
anything that helps people or makes their life better, essentially. Yeah.
I mean, look.
Amnesty International could be considered a leftist organization, and they could attack their funding. It's the same thing with what ICE is doing and rounding up people in our cities. They just label you a terrorist or a criminal or a cartel member, and they just arrest you, right? The Trump administration had a graph I think they dropped yesterday. It's like 8,600% of criminal arrests have increased. If you label every single person you arrest as a criminal, of course criminal arrests are going to increase. Julie, so what are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thoughts on this, as somebody who has done political campaigns for 100 years, is this is a way to disincentivize people from donating to Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is, right? You don't have to actually do it to scare the bejesus out of donors. Mm-hmm. And you are about to write a $100 check, or even if you're about to write a $25 check, and you're a little old lady who's living in a fixed income, and you are sending $25 to your Democratic state committee or to your local
Yeah.
congressperson because you really believe in that person or or the Democratic Party, you may think twice. And you may think twice because you might say, do I really need to go through the expense of an audit and a criminal investigation, even if I know I've done nothing wrong? And you're just not going to do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's how people raise money for campaigns. Now, multiply that by large donors who bundle money and donate money repeatedly. They're the guys who work on Wall Street, the guys, the people like that. And they're going to say, I don't need this. I just don't. And we are effectively weaponizing free speech, which is what I used to think Republicans were all about when it came to political donations. That's why Mitch McConnell fought so very hard against the McCain-Feingold Finance Reform Act. That is why he was instrumental in pushing legislation and tactics that then resulted in Citizens United. But so again, yet another thing that Republicans used to stand for that apparently now is being thrown out the window. Apparently speech, which the Supreme Court has ruled campaign contributions are free speech. It is part of the First Amendment. That's why Citizens United exists. Not anymore. Now you're just a criminal. And the way you're going to be a criminal is you're going to be referred to the criminal division of the IRS and you're going to be investigated. And irrespective of whether you are convicted or not, and I don't know that there are any courts yet that will convict you, I'll get in a moment, you're not going to want to bother. Like, why? Why would you bother? Why would you bother going through the expense? It's really expensive to hire a criminal defense lawyer, criminal tax lawyer especially, deal with this and have a proctology exam with all of your tax returns every day. I will go a step further and I will say the reason I say yet is because they're also very busy stacking the federal bench. And we are now not yet at the show trial level of our government, but we will be soon because soon we'll have judges who will be their judges. And it's not like this is a Bush appointee, this is a Obama appointee, this is a Biden appointee, this is a Reagan appointee. They're going to be MAGA appointees. And so therefore they are just ideologues who happen to have graduated from law school. If you don't believe me, look at Lindsay Halligan, who is the former Miss Colorado, Miss something. I don't know what she is, Frederic. Is she one of yours? Is she Miss Colorado?
I think it was Colorado.
Oh, we ain't claiming her. We ain't claiming her.
I think it was Colorado
and
a friend of Eric Kirk's and part of the Trump Miss USA.
You thinking of Colorado? No, you thinking of Colorado, Russia. That's we.
but no, well, she put it right in there with what she's doing. But she happens to have a law degree, fantastic. And so now, even though she's never tried a case in her life, or certainly a criminal case, she's now indicting, all of Trump's enemies, whether it's the former head of the FBI, whether it's the current Attorney General of New York, whether apparently starting next week it's going to be John Bolton. So on. Adam Schiff will be next, and this will continue to happen. And I think what we're talking about here is I'm old enough to remember when during the Obama, I was at Fox then, and this was literally A block through C block in every show. Sean Hannity specifically went nuts on this every day, that they thought that Obama was going after Tea Party groups, that they were deploying the IRS to go after the Tea Party. And even somebody like J.D. Vance said, if you do something like this, you don't have a country anymore. Guess what? Obama never did, but these people are.
Well, it's like the weaponization of government, committee that they formed was a couple of years ago, but that's exactly what they're doing. And I'll say this as somebody who runs a super PAC, 527 is like all of this donor information, just to bring it back to that, is public information, and how you spend every dollar. All of this is public. And I'm seeing it in my space in real time. And I'm hearing it from my colleagues who run other organizations. Nobody wants to give money right now because of this fear. And that's why George Soros and his son Alex are on this list. George Soros, again, he's like this boogeyman, this anti-Semitic, narrative that they put out about George Soros. I was like, Julie, you and I have talked about this. I'm like, in our years of working, we've never gotten $1 from George Soros, nor have we ever met him. I know, I wish. But I will say, and it's the very last thing before we move on, is that fear that they're trying to instill in everyone. And this goes from the donors and the money to getting out and having your free speech, whether it be through money or whether it be through peaceful assembly. And they're doing it with the No Kings protest again on Saturday, is trying to instill fear in people. And Mike Johnson was saying this just, I think it was yesterday.
He's doing it for himself.
Can you make a 5-second prediction here for us? How long does this go on?
I hope it ends soon. I don't think it will end before the Hate America rally on the mall on Saturday.
Hate America rally.
All the Marxists and Antifa people and all the people who hate Trump and hate America will be there. After that, though, I hope there's a couple of sensible Democrats who will come to their senses over in the Senate and vote.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So again, though, but it's that
We
same
ain't sensitive, Mike.
with all the Marxists
We ain't
and
sensitive.
Antifa Democrats. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but good for you. So yeah.
I know we got to go, but I'm just going to say one more thing about this. Sorry, Frederic, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
I just want to bring up real quick before we go. Just for the audience at home, Julie's only been in politics for 97.25 of years, not 100. So she always likes to age herself just a little bit. And Lindsay Halligan, she's never tried a case, but she did watch the movie with Reese Witherspoon, so she's going to take her Miss Colorado fashion to the court, and destroying our democracy. And we're not the sensitive ones, Mike. We're not the ones crying about, for being called names and everything else and intolerant. So just a few clarifying points.
Yeah, you sound very much like me. My husband is a criminal defense lawyer, and I always say to him that I don't know what he's doing because I watched a lot of Law and Order in my day, so I think I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not sure. Every time he talks to me about a case, I'm like, is that what Jack McCoy would do? And it drives him bonkers. But I will also say this. Michelle, you said that every penny is disclosable. Actually, thanks to Citizens United, you have super PACs that are not disclosable. 501c4 super PACs, and
C4s for sure. Yeah,
right. Those are not disclosable, and that's what you have to file that with the IRS, not with the SEC, and that's where the real danger is going to come in. Watch those on the Democratic side dry up. More. That is where campaigns are being run.
Yep.
All right now. So we got to go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Julie. Michelle, remember when we talked about the impending collapse of the auto loan credit market yesterday and how much awesome news that was? Well, it gets even better. And by better, I mean worse. So apparently the Trump economy is so bad. The CEO of GoFundMe, folks may know what GoFundMe is. It's where you, unfortunately, because we have this hellscape of our basically our healthcare system, they raise, like I did for my mother, where I raised money to, even though she has government healthcare from being a retiree and she has long-term care disability, I still had to raise money from a GoFundMe to put her in a memory care unit for her dementia. Well, it gets even worse because now what the CEO of GoFundMe says, he's seeing more and more Americans have GoFundMes for food and everyday items. So the place where we used to have raising money for medical emergencies, which we shouldn't have, now food is apparently the new medical emergency. And we're not hearing this much about from the mainstream media. Weird. Which is fixated on a laser. They were laser focused on the price of eggs last year, but not so much now. What are your thoughts on this, Julie?
Well, I think we're living in a hellscape. What else can you say? I mean, look, all the signals are flashing red. All of them. We started the A block talking about what's happening with our farmers. We spent yesterday talking about how cars are being repossessed at the longest, the highest rate, I think, in recorded memory. And now this, right? People are literally crowdsourcing food money. And that's before we even talk
Food.
about the fact that the average American does not have $400 in his or her bank account for medical emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gotten so bad that
Nope.
people can't afford to eat anymore, even as they're cutting aid. Food banks are gonna. By the way, food banks would have been benefiting from some of these farmers having some of this food, but we've gotten to the point where things have gotten so bad that the Scott Bessents of the world, the Donald Trumps of the world, the people who are making Steve Wickoff, people who are making billions off of crypto, they're doing just fine.
Mm-hmm.
But average Americans are literally crowdsourcing money for food.
Food. And this is in addition to, and this was reported, I think, a couple months ago, is these, buy now, pay later things that you can do when you're
Yep.
in an online store. There's like a firm, and then there's, I think it's like Klarna or something like that. Those services, the buy now, pay later stuff, that is surging as well. So in addition to the crowdsourcing for food money, there is also this, huge uptick in people buying it on credit, and not through credit cards, through these other third-party credit lenders, just to buy groceries. And that is, again, and then you couple that with what's going on with the military and this government shutdown right now, when we have visuals that are being reported of military, active duty military and their families standing in the lines at soup kitchens and food banks and other places like that, that we have a problem. We have a huge, huge problem. And again, this is all man-made. And I say man-made and because there's men and they have done this. And it's Donald Trump, it's Scott Bessent, it's Stephen Miller, it's JD Vance, the list goes on.
And in the greatest,
Yeah.
most wealthy country in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the part.
At least we used to be.
But think about that.
Donald Trump's doing it. Donald Trump's doing his best to, get us out of that position.
Yeah, we're like, it's like
so
Les
they
Mis.
can-
Yeah, I mean, we're having French Revolution levels of inequality in this country, and that is not an exaggeration. That is not an exaggeration. And what happened in the French Revolution? People were starving to death until, fill in the blank.
You think about this and you wonder how much longer this can go on, because you're getting to the point where
It can't.
when people starve, that's when they get desperate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Interestingly, all these years that we've been hearing, oh, we've got to arm ourselves. We've got to arm ourselves against the tyranny of the government. The government's going to come for us. The government knows full well nobody's going to rise up against them because they control everything.
Mm-hmm.
More and more, he's controlling everything. But at which point does this country just say, we can't live like this anymore? I mean, we're going to have food soup lines soon. It's going to be like the Great Depression. We are one market downturn away from the Great Depression right now.
Mm-hmm. And then, meanwhile, last night. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll prove my Marxist bona fides for Speaker Mike Johnson. I mean, Lenin said in the State and Revolution that society is 3 meals away from chaos. I don't think it's 3, but I mean, just imagine like missing 3 meals in a row, what that looks like.
Yeah. What that
now
feels
imagine
like.
missing 9.
Right. And
and how mad are you going to be?
Yeah. Like legitimately think about what that physically would feel like. The things that, I mean, we need energy. We need food to live. We need food. We need water. So do children in order to live and grow and learn and survive. And, meanwhile, last night, Donald Trump was giving a little, press conference, I guess, if you can call it that. I think it was mostly just his little friends in the ballroom talking about all the things that he was going to build and whatever else. Yes, I'm just talking about, he wants to build like an Arc de Triomphe or something like that in Washington.
So that's Lady Liberty. Lady, did you ever hear of Lady Liberty?
Oh, God.
But So the
Didn't know about
scientists
this one.
agree
Yeah, so then he walks
American
over
evolution
here and he's
is
like, here's my little thing, and then he's got like a whole diorama there of where they're going to build this thing, that looks like, Nazi Germany in Washington D.C. in a ballroom, where he also was going on a tangent about upside down bathtubs or something. All of this extravagant, gilded nonsense and $40 billion bailouts
Such
while
a
they
hack.
take more. These people are such pieces of shit. Like,
Is anybody shocked? Of course, there's a Jefferson Memorial, there's a Washington Memorial, there's a Lincoln Memorial. You knew that there was going to be a Trump Memorial.
Yeah. Listen, we are so close to him putting his name on the White House, like outside, like Trump Palace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trump White House.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. All right. Well, on that note.
Frederic and Julie, do you want to know who has spent the most amount of money on advertising this year, in the year 2025, year of our Lord? Was it Budweiser at the Super Bowl? Coca-Cola? No. You and I, we have been spending the most amount of money on advertising this year. That is the American taxpayer who is paying for the Department of Homeland Security to run $51 million worth of ads that are thanking dear leader Donald Trump for securing the border. ICE, which is a part of DHS, has spent an additional $10 million on a recruitment ad campaign. The DHS ads, which the government swears are not political, have the following message in common. Quote, President Trump is the most mentioned phrase across all the ads. 3 ads say, thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border and putting America first. Another says, President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now. And while we can sit here and kind of laugh at the absurdity of it because it's so obvious, this stuff, it's subliminal messaging that lives under the surface of all of our lives. Anytime we go anywhere, a gas station, an airport, the government is spending this $51 million, right? Plus the other 10 in the recruitment ads. This stuff permeates. It gets into people's brains, their little RFK brainworms. And this stuff is working. There was a poll that came out yesterday. I think it was on CNN, that Democrats are in serious danger of not winning the House back next year. So I'd love to know, what do we make of our new television star, Kristi Noem, Julie?
I mean, look, she looks the part, right? She had the Mar-a-Lago makeover.
Yeah,
but
she's very hoe looking.
Wow.
I will say this. We are at the propaganda point of our authoritarian decline. And this is exactly, I hate bringing up Russia all the time, but this is exactly what happened at the turn of the century, around the year 2000. Came in, provoked a couple of Reichstag fire type situations, literally a bombing.
An apartment building or something, right? Yeah.
A war with Chechnya. Now, are we going to provoke something this weekend? Maybe. Or is he going to? Maybe. Is he starting a war with Venezuela? Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And the playbook is so insanely similar that you only have to look at what happened there. And then what Putin did was he took over the media.
Yeah.
The vice just clinched more and more and more and more. And so now, if you speak to average Russians, they'll tell you that, I mean, they're not bad people. They've just been convinced for 25 years that Ukrainians are fascists and are subhuman and don't deserve to live and this to Nazi Germany. And therefore
the denazification, right, of the Ukrainians.
Yeah. Right. So therefore, of course, you've got to do this. Of course, you got to save the poor Ukrainians from themselves. And this is what happens. And you have young kids who've never known anything but this.
Right. It's like the young Republicans and growing up with Donald Trump. It's like, this is what they know. This is what their value system is based on. Of course.
Yep.
So that's what we're dealing with here. And look, I say this every day, but I'm going to go back to this. This is on John Roberts. Because the day that he said that there will be no prosecutions for a president who commits crimes on a daily basis, more than probably one a day, is the day that it became open season, because the other thing this president has constitutionally, which John Roberts certainly knows, is the power to pardon. So that if you are anybody acting in his name, like Kristi Noem, who's ordering all sorts of incredibly, I believe, illegal, inhumane, insane things done at the Department of Homeland Security, it's okay. You'll get a pardon out the door. So don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Go do whatever you want to do. If Trump is immunized and he can immunize everybody else, who's to say that everybody is not going to be immunized from committing crimes? And what, like,
every ICE officer, this is what they're going to, this is what they're going to do. And this is why when this country is hopefully given the opportunity to fix this, like, there's going to have to be major, major changes to all of this.
If there was one thing, if there were two constitutional changes I would want to make off the bat, one, I think it's not going to be doable, and that's getting rid of the Electoral College, because there's no way 2/3 of the states are going to vote for that, because it hurts them.
Yeah.
But the thing that I really want to be very clear about is, if there's one constitutional amendment we need, it is to get rid of pardon power. We have juries in this country. We have the ability in this country for us to get tried by a jury of our peers, and we don't need the king coming in here and a scepter, which is where this all comes from. It comes from monarchy.
Yeah, I was wondering. It's like, does pardon, was that from like the origins?
From medieval times. And you, like, no. Why does Donald Trump get to pardon anybody if a jury's convicted them? Right. Or any president. I'd apply that to Joe Biden.
And it's like, Joe Biden used the auto pen.
Yeah. But I mean, like, that's a very good Trump, but let's be really clear about what's going on here. They're acting with impunity to brainwash the American public, because they know they have it, because he got it from the Supreme Court, and he's conferring it on all of his enablers. So, and
I go ahead. I cut you off.
Nope. I had nothing more to add.
I'm really bothered by this 51 million amount of taxpayer dollars, because I'm thinking about what I could have done with that, where I could have run an ad to the women of New York and said, where you open up with the Sarah McLachlan music, and it's just like, are you lonely? Like, are you looking for a man that's going to support you in all of your, woman boss New York power? Get you a Southern man get you a Colorado man like Frederic Poag. See, that could have been a great ad spot.
And I was like,
that could have been no. I ain't running for no office. I'm just running to, listen.
I already hear enough Sarah McLachlan stuff when I see, like, dogs stacked in shelters. I don't need more Sarah McLachlan stuff.
So now, which one should I have gotten? I mean, what do you think?
Well,
I could have done Solid Gold Country.
Yeah,
look.
how about this money being used for people to no longer have to live paycheck to paycheck and go fund?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, Julie. That's why I'm trying to get me one of them successful New York women. I'm not trying to live paycheck to paycheck anymore.
Well, here's the other thing here, and I want to read a little bit of this. That the next closest ad campaign is $41 million spent in California for the redistricting measure, which I think is money well spent, in my opinion. But it says zoom out. This is from Axios. The ads are airing nationally. Like, these aren't targeted ads to, like, swing districts or, like, major cities. This is everywhere. And it's broadcast TV, online, and some local TV markets, according to the data reported by Ad Impact. Fox News Channel is the largest host of DHS's ad buy, with $9 million. Morning shows like The Today Show, CBS Morning, and Good Morning America saw the most program-specific spending. But in the last month, airings of the Mexican Soccer League, Fox's 5, and Univision saw the most ads. And I think there is another thing here about where I saw, between the lines, DHS ads are being made by people who think and save Safe America Media, who will be paid up to $200 million. Like, this is the other part of the Citizens United, like, consultants getting, like, a huge chunk of this as well. And it says people who think previously worked for Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and for Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, who was also a client of Corey Lewandowski, who is Kristi Noem's boyfriend. Like, the rot is so
boyfriend. But boyfriend, isn't she married? Isn't that
Yeah,
against
Philippines,
their
got 4 kids.
ethos?
Yeah.
And
Alleged
Huh.
boyfriend would probably say that.
oh, yeah.
I made when that story came out, when at my last job, I made an ad about them. And it was just a supercut of all of them talking about family values. Just saying. I could use $51 million for that.
Yeah, you could just put that up on TV on the
Well, maybe
fire.
they're poly. Maybe they're poly. You know, maybe they're blended. They're blending their families. You know.
Oh boy, that's what I want to think about. Christine and Corey Lewandowski's extracurricular here or anybody else. All right. Well,
You could be thinking about Corey Lewandowski all day. Anyways.
no, I'm not going to. I had a tough night. All right. You guys, usually we spend this last block talking about something lighthearted like Otto the Orange yesterday. But there was such a incredible, yes, amount of news going on that I just wanted to raise something. We don't need to belabor it much, but I think it's important to talk about. Mike Davis, who's a former clerk, and Michelle has a lot of scoop on Mike Davis. He's a former clerk to Neil Gorsuch and very close ally of Harmeet Dillon, who is leading the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. Just put a pin in that one because she's leading the Civil Rights Division in the Justice Department. Called Hakeem Jeffries, who is the first leader of either party to be a person of color, an African American. He called Hakeem Jeffries and I quote, house slave. What he said specifically is that he is George Soros's house slave. So they have the anti-Semitic component of this, which I think, people consistently said it was the Jews who ran the slave trade. False. Apparently no, enough to go after George Soros. Now you're also saying that his house slave is Hakeem Jeffries. And so, I know this isn't really the lighthearted topic I want to talk about, but I didn't want to let the show pass without bringing this up because I don't think it's getting enough media attention anywhere. And it's important because, Michelle, why don't you tell us a little bit about Mike Davis? You have all the dirt on him.
Well, I got a little, I went down the Mike Davis rabbit hole back in 2023. So this guy is as bad as you think that somebody like Mike Davis could be. He is worse. He has said some of the most vile, violent things about Democrats, what he wants to do to Democrats. He was someone who was being floated as Attorney General. And if Pam Bondi, and honestly, when they announced Matt Gaetz after the election, I was actually surprised it wasn't Mike Davis. So I'm just going to show this quick clip. This is from The Circus. This aired in November of 2023.
MAGA lawyer likes to come on your podcast, Mike Davis. Here's what he suggested were the top priorities for Trump's attorney general. 1, fire the deep state executive branch. 2, indict the whole Biden family. 3, deport 10 million people, kids in cages. That will be glorious. 4, detain people at Gitmo. 5, pardon every January 6th defendant. What do you think about that 5-step plan?
I think it's fantastic. We
all
should do
5?
All 5. We're going to start the largest deportation program in history. All 10 million must leave.
You're saying that it's about people's gut feelings, it's about people's lived experiences. You think somebody that's struggling, right now in the economy cares about firing random deep state people, indicting Joe Biden's
There's many things
brother,
Tim,
deporting
did
people?
I say that's all they're going to do? That's Mike Davis will probably be the attorney general.
And there it is. And a lot of what we're doing now, I mean, we've listened about, what was that, 2 years ago now? All that's happening. All of that's happening. And a lot of this comes from the brainworms inside Mike Davis's head. He is the ideologue really behind a lot of this. And he's an extremely, extremely dangerous man. I mean, very dangerous. As dangerous as everybody is in this administration, he is more dangerous. I think that he is more dangerous than Stephen Miller, if that tells you anything.
And let me just say this. When eventually it will be time for him to be nominated as Attorney General, when Pam Bondi moves on, if she moves on, not one Republican, well, there may be 1 or 2, but he will get confirmed. He will get confirmed.
And there's the tweet.
because it doesn't matter to them. There is no bottom. There is no bottom.
No. No, I mean, the thing is, like, and this is, I know this is a lot of heavy stuff, and, these people are insane, but the thing I keep coming back to is that what have we talked about a lot of today? People are GoFundMe for food. Housing is out of reach. People are losing jobs. Whole industries like farming are being decimated. What you're supposed to do when you're becoming authoritarian or fascist, you're at least supposed to make life better for a significant part of the downtrodden and the people who were your supporters. For at least a little while. They aren't doing that. They're literally just looting and robbing the country. So the hard part is like, which breaks first, right? That's the grisly sort of math. Is it going to be? Are we going to break as the left and Democrats, or is everybody going to break at the same time? And then, we have choices to make at that point, depending on where we're at, and it's going to be tough.
This is an article from literally the day after the election last year. Again, this is when I say I was shocked that Matt Gaetz was chosen and not this guy. Daily Beast reports, this is the headline, potential Trump AG, I want to drag Democrats' bodies through the streets. Mike Davis, a Republican lawyer and former, what?
No, I mean, I go ahead. Yeah, for you.
No. So it says Mike Davis, a Republican lawyer and former Senate aide whose name has repeatedly come up as a potential AG in the next Trump administration. He tweeted on November 6th, again, the morning after the presidential election. He says, here's my current mood. I want to drag their dead political bodies through the streets, burn them, and throw them off the wall. In parentheses, legally, politically, and financially, of course, wink, and I'm saying wink, wink, because that's not what he means. And the last part of this is, in the past, Davis has said that he wants to imprison journalists in, quote, gulags, though the line between what Davis calls trolling and his earnest dialogue sometimes isn't easily discernible as a Politico profile from September.
You know what? This is the big, right there, Michelle, this is the biggest problem I have with the media right there.
Yep.
Stop that nonsense.
Yep.
That's bullshit. Why are we saying, oh, we don't know? Is he kidding? Is he not kidding? Really? Was Hitler trolling with Mein Kampf?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny.
I know.
Let's reject that, right? Like, we don't really know. Was Mr. Hitler trolling? Was Herr Hitler trolling his jailers by writing Mein Kampf, or was he serious about this? We don't know. Why don't we start taking them at their word? These are the people who are doing everything they said they were going to do. Is there anything they're not moving to do that they said they were going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go a step further. Do you think if Charlie Kirk was still here, he'd say Tyler Robinson was just trolling? I mean, all the stuff he wrote on his bullets, and that was, Pepe the Frog and all this meme stuff was just, as J.D. Vance just said about the young Republicans, oh, well, that's just edgy humor. I don't know. Did Charlie Kirk get hit in the neck by edgy humor?
Calling them college
students. Did Charlie Kirk get hit in the neck by edgy humor, or was it a bullet?
Those young Republicans in that group chat, by the way, I looked at their ages. They're from mid-20s. The oldest is 35. These are not children. They're grown ass.
No, they're not.
And by the way,
and this is part of. No, but go ahead. Go.
Yeah, I think there's
but this is the problem, right? It's this. Oh, they're just trolling. Oh, they're just trolling. Oh, I'm just doing this. It's like, no, man. You guys like. You during the election. Oh, Donald Trump at the eating the cats and dogs. Oh, the rounding people up. He's just kidding. He's just being hyperbolic. That's just politics. What's happening in L.A., Chicago, Memphis, Portland? Is that just jokes? Is that what's happening?
So funny.
Because and that's the thing. To your point, Julie, these people are deadly serious. Mm-hmm. And to paraphrase JFK, when you make peaceful transition impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. Or as Malcolm X said, it's either the ballot box or the bullet box. They're pushing for the bullet box. And unless you don't want to live in that country, media, take these people freaking seriously, because they take themselves seriously.
And the journalists are
Go
like
ahead, Julie.
are public enemy number one too, which is always so ironic. But anyways,
and
they're the first ones up against the wall.
And the media better wake up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Better wake up. I don't want to hear that ever again. Like, it's hard to say trolling or not trolling. By the way, there's a attorney general candidate in Virginia who on private chats said some stuff that was not particularly great. The Republicans aren't asking whether he's just trolling or not. They're
taking it at face value, right?
Taking it at face value and running very hard against him for saying that stuff. So why don't we treat them the same way? Right? Because they're not saying this on private chats.
That's right.
They're saying this publicly.
And I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts about that situation in Virginia, but we'll save it for tomorrow.
We'll save it for tomorrow. All right, everybody. We will see you all tomorrow.
Well, I'll see you all tomorrow. Please like and subscribe the Mayday Network here on YouTube. And please also find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts, where you will find this show and our other show, Overwrite, that we do on Wednesdays and Saturdays with Tara Setmayer and JoJo from Jurors. And with that, you all have a very pleasant day, and we will see you tomorrow morning. Take care.
Bye.